Well, hi everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we are live on our Friday lunchtime broadcast. And today's subject is about sticks and stones may hurt our bones, but words will never hurt me. And I wanted to make sure that you understand before we get into it that this would be quite a deep thing to listen to or to watch. So if you are emotionally triggered pretty easily by things that people have said to one another, just be aware of that and take the necessary precautions. Hi there, Jody. I'm Dear Mama Sal, helping you cope with love, life, and other problems as best I can. And today is going to be quite an impactful broadcast, I'm pretty sure. Basically, that we're going to prove that words do have impact, and in fact, lasting impact. I would really recommend that you all watch it if you can and participate, because that is how we teach people things here. What we do is we take real life situations and we learn from them. So just know that what we're going to do is a three-part thing. We're going to start off with the learning, and then we're going to have a discussion. And then at the end, we'll be updating on news, views, and updates of the viewers. And the reason that we do that is because we're like an extended family and we like to keep up to date with everybody. If you have a subject that you'd like me to talk about, either drop a note here in the notes column, and my wonderful admin Jody will take a note of it and remind me that to add it to our list. And the other thing is you can write to me at dearmamasal@gmail.com. And either way, just let me know what subject, if you've got one that you would like me to talk about that might help you. And I assure you that I do look at them and I consider them. And sometimes I will put 2 or 3 of them together into one broadcast. This broadcast, by the way, comes about with big thanks to Lauren, who started this off for me. She actually talked to me about something that had happened to her. And I went, wow, I'm pretty sure you're not the only one that's had this impact happen to them. So I'd like to do a broadcast about it. So Lauren, thank you very much indeed. I want to make sure I give you full credit for coming up with this one. Just make sure if you are new or ghosting here that you have clicked the bell. I believe it's down that way. Because the bell will tell you if we're about to do a broadcast. It gives you some warning. And I'm certain that you would probably appreciate that. Plus, make sure you follow us on Facebook and Twitter, just under Dear Mama Sal, exactly as it is here. All right, so this is just a big warning to you guys. I want to make sure that I have done due diligence on this, all right? So I'm going to repeat this again, which is, please, if you have a history of trauma of any sort, this may trigger you. And so I would ask you to be an adult and decide whether or not you want to listen to this broadcast or watch it. I would like to suggest that if you've been severely upset by any memories in your past, be aware that we're going to be probably bringing up some more. And so make your own decision whether you want to cope with that or whether you would rather not watch it. And if you're unable to control your emotional response to things, just take a really deep breath. And if it gets too painful for you, just you know that you don't have to watch it all. Maybe you want to watch little bits of it. Also, a disclosure here that just so in case the people who don't know me, I'm not a therapist, nor am I a doctor. I'm a human being who has lived a long life and mostly a very happy one. But I also have experienced a lot. And I'm a lifelong learner. So I love these subjects because it allows me to do a little bit of looking into them, research them, and hopefully find some ways that you can understand them better. And what I'm always looking for is possibility that I can actually help you recover from some of these. And I would like to say that one of the things that I really am grateful for was Lauren told me, and seeing as we're talking about Lauren today, but Lauren also told me at Christmas time that she had a real issue with people calling Christmas Xmas. because she thought it was disrespectful and blasphemous almost. And, it was funny because one of the things that I taught Lauren over Christmas was, these words only have power over us if we allow them to. And we can actually change our thinking about things. And then, of course, I asked her, who said this to you, that it was so disrespectful? And she said, a minister. And I said, well, that's funny because I had a minister explain to me that the X stood for the cross. And therefore, it was not disrespectful. It's all about how you process things. And the other thing that I taught her was, I actually said to her, I'd like permission to keep writing Xmas to you, because if I do, it will desensitize you to the word. And then if you're desensitized, it will never have control over you again. Now, I know, Jody, you're here, and hi, Sikher. What I wanted to find out was, did you find that you were desensitized to the Xmas thing? Hi, Jamie. Did you find out that you were desensitized to it? And if so, that will give us some more power over what we're going to be talking about today. We are a group of people who are working on improving our emotional health, just so you know that. We get together 3 times a week to discuss different issues and to learn to understand them better. For those of you who are interested, we have 3 broadcasts every weekend. And unless I've got other commitments. And you are welcome to watch any of them. You're welcome to participate. You're also welcome to write to me if anything comes up for you that you'd like to discuss. So here we go with today's topic. Sticks and stones may hurt our bones, but words will never hurt us. And my first question was, is that true? Is it true that sticks and stones may hurt our bones, but words will never hurt us? Because I don't think so. And so that's what I was thinking about, that, some people's words hurt us for a long time. And so, right, so not true, right? All of it hurts. Well, not all of it, because sometimes people say nice things, nice words, and they stay with me as well. So I want to just make sure that we get some balance on here. So what I did is I did a poll, and I got some real life examples, which I'm going to start with. If you have your version that you would like to add later, feel free to drop them in when we get to the discussions part of this, all right? So in each case, the viewer has given me permission to not only quote what they wrote me, but also to use their name. I just want to make sure that you know I would not do this without their permission. And so my big thanks, first of all, to Emma. What Emma said, this is what was said to her. You are a failure. You'll never amount to nothing. Well, the interesting thing is, the first thing that comes to my mind is my mother. And because my mother's saying that's a double negative, you'll never amount to anything. But that being said, Emma, yeah. So how hurtful was that? You're a failure. You'll never amount to nothing. Yeah, I've had people say similar things to me. But what was the result? Emma told me that the result, and to you now, was, so she pushed herself to do things so hard that it caused her stress and anxiety. And some of you will know that when somebody hits you hard, if you've got any amount of rebel in you, you will push back to prove them wrong. How many of you relate to that one? You will literally go up yours. I'm going to prove to you that I can do this. So I totally understood that. I remember somebody telling me when I wanted to be a professional speaker, and they came to listen to me, and they said, don't quit your day job. And I went, okay. But for me, that was motivation. So it depends on your personality. Some people take things different way. So the second quote that I have comes from Lauren, and this is what she said. In my 20s, When my mom was out of the house, my dad used to tell me he would leave my younger sister and I if my mom died first. Wow. In my 20s, if my mom was out of the house, my dad used to tell me he would leave my younger sister and I if my mom died first. Now, you need to understand that Lauren is wheelchair bound. Can you imagine the effect that would have had on her? She said the result for her was that she felt neglected and not wanted. And who can blame her? And so to me, it's about, wow. And then Nolene wrote to me and she said, this is what she heard. You don't need an education. You're only a girl. Wow. That's a double, right? First of all, you don't need an education. And secondly, you're only, notice the word only, you're only a girl. How hurtful was that? And how untrue. And the result, Lorraine told me that she ended up having her first child at 16. I can remember around that, Nolene, my mom told me that your job is to get a good education and then get married and have children. Yeah, right. I didn't do that. All right, some of you have heard me quote this before, but I want to add it in here because of the incredible result. This came from my mother, and she used to say, don't bring the patter of tiny feet near me. Children are an overrated pleasure. So the first thing was don't bring the patter of tiny feet near me. In other words, don't bring children anywhere near me. And the second part was children are an overrated pleasure, and I was a child. What was the result? None of my brothers or sisters had children. You see, we were conditioned not to. Jody wrote to me, and this is equally horrifying in my view. And Jody, as I read this, I'm going to give what I believe was the result, but just give me your version because I don't believe that I got that in the replies. She said, my parental grandmother lived with us when I was a child and would often say to my father, right before he planned to leave the house to run errands, I'm going to kill you, your wife and children. Oh, sorry, I'm going to kill your wife and children when you leave the house. I witnessed this many years of abusive behavior. Many years like that abuse from my grandmother. So when I sort of thought about it and I thought, what would be the result of that terror? I would think, let's just read that again. My paternal grandmother lived with us. That's a grandmother. That's meant to be a nurturer, right? When I was a child, and would often say to my father, right before he planned to leave the house and run errands, I'm going to kill your wife and children when you leave this house. I witnessed many years of abusive behavior like that from my grandmother. Now, I don't know about you, but I think, somebody like that today, I think somebody should be locked up for. Because that is the most terrible thing. Now, Emma also wrote and said that she heard the words, you're ugly. And she said it made me hate myself to the point of developing a serious condition called body dysmorphia. Yeah, I can understand why it would do that, right? If you're constantly being told you're ugly. Nolene told me that she was told you're putting it all on. And she had severe disabilities. I was told, listen to this one, your brother is smart, your sister beautiful, you're the cute one. So in a very short sentence, I was told I was neither smart nor beautiful in my processing. And the result, I became a performer. And I'm still cute. You know what I mean? It's just like they're not, you can sort of look at these and go, wow, how do I want to take this one? I actually think she was right on that, aspect. I was very cute, and I still am. Right? And Jody said another one, and quite honestly, it is difficult for me to read. But again, from her paternal grandmother. I believe. No, or maybe from her mother. I'll get Jody just to confirm this. When you're sitting in a dentist chair in pain, I want you to remember that I will be here killing your pet bird. I screamed and bawled at the entire time through that dentist appointment. And the dentist ended up telling my mother that I was difficult. Well, Jody's just confirmed it was her grandmother again. And what was the result? I would say pure terror again. You imagine somebody saying that they're going to kill your pet for no other reason than their own perverted pleasure, I would say. And I believe this was Nolene again, and I just forgot to put the reference in here, but I believe it was Nolene, who said she heard, you only cause drama, so I don't need you in my life. Remembering that she has disabilities. The result of which was, she said, I haven't had any contact with my daughter for 7 years. So I presume that came from her daughter. As you can see from the examples that we've given, some truly hurtful things have been said to us. And if you have any others that you'd like to add, we're about to do a group discussion. So feel free to start typing them, and we'll take them one by one as best we can. Try not to, but we're going to discuss these because does it make any sense to you that at some level you must have believed, and as did I, you must have believed it to be true? And the reason I say that is something I'm going to show you in a second. But before I do, I just wondered, just hold on, Jody, I want to give a time spot here at 18:30 for us to start the group discussion. All right, so Sakura is saying to me, my parents wanted me to get educated, so I did go to college to be a nurse, but they kept saying, you're never going to use those ever. So the result is I did use it, but now I don't work as a nurse. Okay, so that's good. She said these things. This is Sakura still. She ugly, overweight. Oh, that's what she felt. Self-hatred, self-destructive, and depressed. I'm now working on my weight with hubby. I'm feeling bad after that toxic call. Yes, I'm sure that you are. But listen up. Whatever your reaction was to what we heard go down on these particular things, what I want you to be aware of is some of you will have felt anger, some of you will have felt sadness, and some of you probably felt horror when you listened to what was being said to people. I do believe that at some level we must have believed it, and let me tell you why. If I said to you right now, just take a deep breath on this one. What if I said to you, you look and sound like a car? I want to know, would your reaction to that be that you would start revving up and go zoom, zoom, zoom all the way around the room? And if not, if you're sort of saying, no, of course not, then I need you to think, why not? So I'm wondering whether those viewers that are on the chat right now, do you understand? If I said to you, you look and sound like a car, would you automatically sort of go vroom, vroom, vroom and, you know, zoom your way around the room? And if not, why not? And it's important to think about that, because when you think about it, the chances are the reason that you wouldn't is because you don't believe you're a car. In fact, you know you're not one. So part of the lesson here about dealing with toxic people is that we need to understand. Yes, Jodie's saying it beautifully. She's saying, no, because you saying it doesn't mean I'm a car. Right. I want you to think about this, and I really ask you to take a deep breath, everybody, because this is really what the lesson is all about, in my view. This was things that were done to us as children. You know, I don't know what age you remember being when you heard these terrible things, but I'm pretty sure that most of you were children. However, Sakura is talking about something that happened to her this week. So the sad thing is that her mother, I believe it was her mother, you know, is still saying these hurtful things. And we have a number of viewers who write to me and tell me that their parents are saying very hurtful things to them. And my whole reaction to this is, as an adult, you need to make it stop. And the best way to make it stop, in my view, is to say to that parent, you know, this sort of stuff worked when I was a child and I didn't know any better. But today I know better. And so I have to tell you, what you just said was extremely hurtful, and I choose not to listen to it anymore. So I want to make sure you understand that until the time that you actually put the boundary down, it's going to keep happening. So if you're an adult and people are still saying these toxic things to you, it means that you have not put a stop to it. All right. And I want you to really own this. So Sakura, I was wondering, hi Trina, Sakura, I was wondering whether you would like some help in terms of what you might say to your parent next time that sort of thing happens. And so to me, I'm looking at it and I'm going, it's really important that we see that until we put a stop to it, they are never going to grow up. They are going to continue to be a bully and somebody who's toxic. Yes, exactly, Sakura. May I quote you, Sakura? I just want to make sure that I get your permission for the replay on that one. Okay, thank you very much, Sakura. So here's what Sakura said. I don't know what to say to them to stop. Yes, please, I do need help. It's all of them now, right? It's all of them though. Well, this is the thing, Sakura. The reason that they talk, by the way, do you realize how toxic this is that they still talk to you as a child? Right? And this is the whole reality here. Because you don't answer them as an adult, they continue to treat you with the child, and they continue to think that their toxic behavior is okay. So, Sakura, I know that you have an incredible relationship with your father-in-law, and I would like to make a suggestion to you. I would suggest that it'd be a really good idea for you to sit down with him and get him to work you through some possible suggestions. I'm going to give you a couple, but I would like you to talk to your father-in-law, because I'm pretty sure that he will give you some more. And then the good news is you will be able to take, whatever you feel most suits you and use that. Yes, absolutely. Sakura is saying, yes, it's very toxic, and I'm glad my husband and dad helped me, but I feel I need to stop on. Yeah, you do need to stop them. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so here's the first thing. Literally, the way I stopped it, Sakura, and I've got a sense of humor on a good day, as you know, but I used to start laughing about it. I literally would hear something really toxic from my mom when she was trying to control me. Have you noticed that they say these things when they're trying to control you in some way? They want, they don't like the path you're taking, so they'll be toxic about it. So what I literally would start chuckling, and I'd go, I can't believe what I just heard you say. Now, listen, I know that used to work when I was a 5-year-old, but I need to tell you I've grown up now. And what you just said was extremely hurtful. And when I was a child, it was extremely damaging. I'd really like you to give some thought to what you just said. And right now, I choose not to listen to any more of this. I'm going to put the phone down. Thank you for the chat, and bye-bye for now. Love you dearly. And put the phone down, or disconnect the computer, whatever you need to do. Do you understand what you're doing? You're saying, I heard you. It used to work when I was a 5-year-old. I am not a 5-year-old anymore. Have a look at what you're saying to me, and then get out of the line of fire, all right? Disconnect. And by the way, always end being the better person, Sakura. Do you understand that? I've said this to you many times, all right? Which is, don't go, oh, they hurt me, they're such terrible people. That's not what I want you to do. I want you to really straighten up your back and go, I've just heard what you said. I know it worked when I was a 5-year-old, because I can still feel the pain of that. But I want to tell you that I am not a 5-year-old anymore. I am an adult, and what you just said was extremely hurtful, totally unnecessary, and definitely not filled with any amount of love. And therefore, I choose not to listen to any more of this conversation. Please call me when you've given this some thought, or please write to me, whatever it is that you're doing, when you've given this some thought. And please know that I will no longer tolerate this type of discussion. I don't mind hearing your opinion, but when it gets toxic and hurtful, I am going to be closing the conversation from now on. All right. So anybody else got any other suggestions as to what she might say? Because to me, it's like the more possibilities we have, what I'm looking for is one that will work for Sakura. For the rest of us, no, I want to tell you something, Sakura. You do that 3 times in a row. By the way, Sakura is just thanking me. And you do that 3 times in a row, you will be teaching those people not to do that anymore. And, any time that they say something that hurts you, all right, what I ask you to do, please, is to say, ouch, that is hurtful. What did I ever do to deserve that? Something that you don't agree with? What did I do to deserve that you tried to hurt me like that? And by the way, if I was still 5, that would have really hurt sore. But I am not putting up with this anymore. This is toxic. It is horrible. I cannot believe you're still doing this to me. and I choose not to listen to it anymore. Please give it some thought, and let's try again another day. And I want to tell you, I want you to be a broken record on this one, right? I want to make sure that, right. And Nyasha is adding her comment in here. She's saying that she is constantly being told that she is a child. And part of what I said to Nyasha is have a good look at your behavior, just to make sure everybody understands. Nyasha has physical disabilities with her eyes. She's almost totally blind, and she is dependent on her parents to a very large extent. And so she can't get out of the line of fire as easily as some other people might be able to as adults. But what I said to Nyasha is, please, please, please stop behaving like one. If you stop, if she stops behaving like a child, they will stop treating her like one. And a child, let me get your feedback, people, if you can, those of you in the chat. As a child, when somebody says something hurtful to you, what do you do? Can you remember? What did you do as a child when somebody said, I brought you into this life and I can take you out? What did you do? Can you remember? Jody, what did you do? And because what I want you to see was that the chances are, as a child, you went inwards. It hurt so much, but you couldn't tell an adult to shut up. And so from that perspective, if you can't tell an adult to shut up as a child, that's understandable. But I'm pretty sure everybody here is an adult. And therefore, you don't have to take this anymore. All right. But also remember one thing. Please remember one thing. Toxic people are probably going to stay toxic. And that's what I need you to understand. All right. So Jody's saying, when she was a child, she ran into her room and cried. She hid in her room and felt unwanted. Yeah, that's probably because you were. You know what I mean? It was terrible for people to say that. But what would you do today, Jody, if somebody said that to you? That's the important thing. What would you say when somebody says something hurtful to you today? Do you still run away from it and hide and cry? Or do you actually say something? Because I have found, it took me a long time to understand this, but I have found when you answer them, not with anger, not with hurt, but just with reality, it's amazing the impact it has. Where I literally say, ouch, that hurt. Did you mean to hurt me? It's just like, check it out. Maybe they did. And if so, you've got a really toxic person. But then be the bigger person. Say, what did I do to hurt you that you attacked back? Because I believe that these things come for a reason. Jody, I'm not surprised. Jody is saying, my grandmother terrified me. Today, I don't hide. I speak my mind, and that can mean many different things on any given day. Yes, I agree with you. We can imagine that, Jody. I must admit, and it stops people if you actually tell them the truth. Nyasha says, I cry because it hurt me so much, but that never helped. Then I used to answer back. Still not helpful. Well done, Nyasha, you're getting there. And finally, I just shut up and it helps. I think I need to be stronger. I think you already are stronger, Nyasha. The fact that you don't react to it. And I really encourage you to say, ouch, Mum, that hurt. I need to just take a bit of time now and just walk away from it. But make sure she knows that she said something hurtful. Right? Now, you know that I always like to turn the mirror, people, so take a deep breath. Are you ready for this one? Have you ever said anything hurtful to somebody else? And if so, let's talk about that. So, first of all, yes or no, and then let's see. Okay, Sakura's telling me, husband said we work out and lose weight our way because my brother kept ordering me to do the keto diet. You'll be amazed how many people are telling me I've got to do that, which dad and the trainer agreed with me, it won't work on me. Exactly. All right, so she's saying that her Filipino husband said, I could say all the things you said are not true, and they have no right to say those hurtful words and laugh at me. But instead, because of the love of my chosen family and the love and encouragement work rather than my own flesh and blood that are hurtful and toxic. Yeah, absolutely, Skura. Also, they want to control my life. That's what it's about. It's about control. My finances as well as other stuff. And I'm so, you grow on your own terms, not on theirs, absolutely. And so I'm really, really proud of you, Nyasha. Jody's saying, yes, trust Jody to be up on this one. Yes, she has said things that hurt other people, and the regret is nearly unbearable. How many of you feel that way? That you know you've hurt people with your words and you're the one paying the price. Yes, Sakura is also saying, yes, I've hurt other people with my words, but I have apologized and worked with them. Good. So that is exactly what I would recommend, all right? That if you have hurt anybody, do what you can to sincerely apologize. By the way, it is our temptation when we apologize to justify why we did it. And I would like to suggest that there is no justification. And sometimes when I apologize, I could write you 3 pages of why this happened, but quite honestly, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All right. Now, Jody's reminding me something. I'm just going to get to that in a second, Jody. So if I miss it, remind me again. I would like to suggest you sincerely apologize to whoever you have hurt and then spend the rest of your life proving that you didn't mean it. All right. Do you understand what I'm saying? If you said something really hurtful to them, it said that you wanted to control them in some way, the way they thought. If you can turn that around, apologize, and then spend the rest of your life proving to them that what you said isn't who you are, it is who you are in anger, and you've got control now. That would tell you a great deal. Now, Jody, the nails in the fence. This is an incredible story that I read somewhere, and I remember sharing it with a couple of the viewers. And it was about the fact that there was a father that every time the son said anything hurtful about anybody, yeah, Jody, if you make a note, I will post it up. Again, I will re-find it and then put it up on the Facebook page. All right, but basically for those of you listening on the replay, what it was about was every time the child said anything hurtful, the father made him go out and bang a nail into the fence. And he kept doing this. He got into the habit of every time he said anything hurtful, after a while he did it automatically. And eventually there were an awful lot of nails in this fence. And then the father said to him, now, every time you apologize, I think I've got this right, you can take a nail out. So think of all the people that you have, hurt and go and apologize. And if you apologize, you can remove the nail, which was a great idea. But here was the lesson. When you pull out the nail, there is still a hole in the fence. And that is what I would have you all remember. It is our job, and comes from me, not part of the story. I believe it is our job to put something to fill that hole. And I believe our behavior in the present will fill the holes of the past. Do you know what I'm saying? When you hurt somebody today, and you will continue to, by the way, you won't be perfect. Well, if you are, what are you doing on my channel? I don't believe any of us is perfect. And so if you do hurt somebody, and I try to do this now, if I say something because I'm angry, or they're not doing things the way I want them to, or whatever it is that triggers me, and I get angry with them, I try to say, I'm so sorry. I tried to control you right then. You understand? If you can actually say those words, you are healthy. That is emotionally aware of what you're doing. Like, just because somebody said something to hurt you doesn't mean that you need to hurt them. You remember, how many times do I say this? We are only responsible for our behavior, not the other person's. So wasn't it Michelle Obama who said, when people attack the Obamas, when they go low, we go higher? And I think that is such a good thing to live our life by. The other thing is this. I'd like to suggest that we might decide it's time to move on. Some of you have spent a lifetime feeling this hurt. I'd like to suggest let's plug that hole in the fence and move on. Yes, sticks and stones can hurt our bones, and so do the words to our very core. But we can choose how much control they have over us. We are responsible for our behavior, not theirs. When you can separate those two things clearly, when you don't tolerate people abusing you. By the way, another thing, Sakura, that I found works really well, I say things like, thank you for your opinion. I don't have to agree with it, Sakura. Or I will say, okay, I heard your opinion. It's all it was, an opinion. Doesn't mean that I have to do it. Even if I'm your child, it doesn't mean that I have to do it, because I am now an adult. And part of emotional intelligence is knowing you're an adult and start behaving like one. I have a lot of haters, Sakura, not a lot, but I do get haters. Obviously, I'm a YouTuber. And one of the things you have to learn very quickly on YouTube is how to deal with haters. And some people spend a lifetime writing back to them and trying to convince them that they're wrong. I don't do that. Whatever they say to me, I work. I pride myself on getting back to nearly every comment that's ever been made on my channel. And, I spend a lot of time making that happen. But what I say is to the hurtful ones, thank you for your opinion. And I also want to tell you, I listen to what is being said and I ask myself, is that true? Do I believe it to be true? Remember the story about the car. You see, there may be some truth in what they're saying, and the reason that it hurts is because I don't want to hear it. I had one person write to me about some video I'd done, and they said that they didn't understand a word of it. And I'm going, yep, okay. I believe that that may be true of one person, but if 10 people said that, I'd start being concerned. If 100 people said that, I'd definitely be taking that video down. Makes sense. It's about, is this one person's opinion or is this true from a lot of people? Now, the fact that your whole family is trying to convince you of this, no problem, Soph. Always a pleasure to see you, honey. The fact that, Sakura, you've got a family that are doing this to you, this is a wonderful opportunity for you to learn how to grow up. Do you understand what I'm saying? Just each time you hear it, take a really deep breath and say to yourself, I'm an adult now, I don't have to take this. So you just go, I heard what you just said. Quite honestly, I found it pretty hurtful, but I need to tell you that that really worked on controlling me when I was a 5-year-old. But right now, as an adult, I have to tell you, it's nothing but hurtful. And I really choose not to listen to this. So feel free to give me a call back when you have something more pleasant to say. I'm going to put the phone down now. Bye-bye. Yeah. You know, and here's the thing. Don't expect that you will necessarily make peace with that person. Because if that person is not prepared to look at what they said and change, then they're not going to change. I have somebody in my life that has been trying to control me for as long as I have known her. And unfortunately for her, I choose not to be controlled. So you understand that, you know, every time that we try and mend the fence, she'll do another controlling thing. And I just don't put up with it. And then she gets all snitty about it and doesn't talk to me for another 2 years. And that's okay with me. Because I don't need toxic people in my life. And we're going to be doing some great quotes on that in a minute. So for those of you who like the countdown, here you go. You've got 319 days until Christmas. What I haven't done is to remind you, it's only 40 days until spring. I got snow on the ground today, people. You know I don't do snow. And for a lot of you, I guess you know that it's 6 days until Valentine's Day. And I wanted to ask, how many of you get sad on Valentine's Day? Because we're doing a broadcast tonight about love is in the air. You know, the great philosopher, DearMamaSal, once said, the world is full of happy people when you're alone. That was my experience when I was young and felt that my only, you know, because I was taught, you know, my role in life was to get married and have children. I used to get so upset because I wasn't doing it. All right, so we got some feedback here on Valentine's Day. Sakura is saying, I love Valentine's, even when I was single, because I could make single people smile. Yes, what a nice thing to do. Be somebody's Valentine just by the nice things you do. I like that. Trina's calling it Hallmark Day. Yeah. Have any of you started watching the Valentine's movies yet? I'll never forgive Jody for this. It's my new go-to-sleep method. I just turn one of those Hallmark movies on. And as I keep saying time and time again, you know, I never realized there were this many eligible bachelors in Europe that were single. You know, it's just like, really? and the most of them are princes, apparently. So that is fun too. But Jody, when I can't go to sleep, I just turn one of those on now, and you'll be amazed. I've got some of them I've watched about 10 times because I can't get past the opening credits of it. All right, and just before we do the quotes, I wanted to remind everybody that we've got a couple of birthdays coming up. And the first one is Jenny Jen. It's her birthday on the 15th. And Let me just see who else have we got here. Oops. Let me have a look here. I've got problem reading this because I haven't got my glasses on. Who's that on the 18th? Oh, Coco. How many of you remember Coco? It's her birthday on the 18th. So we've got 2 coming up, and I will put up some happy birthday wishes for them. And now I wanted to give you what I believe is some great quotes about toxic people. Here's the first one that I heard. And by the way, feel free to participate in this, Jody. Just so that you know, we started the quotes at 51 minutes. Let's put it there. Hi, Tyler. Sakura is saying it's a Hallmark movie. If there's a single person, a prince or a princess kissing, and then a dog. Yeah, I quite agree. You know, it's a Hallmark movie if it has these parts to it. John Mark Green said, and I want you to listen to this because I think it's magical. And, you know, when I was reading through some of these quotes, I really like this one. Toxic people attach themselves like a cinder block tied to your ankles and then invite you for a swim in their poisoned waters. How many of you can feel that? When you're near a toxic person, it's like they want to drag you into to make you feel bad. And really, can anybody think when you can feel that somebody's trying to drag you down, what do you say to yourself in your head? This is the trick. You know, if you want to talk about how do I get to be a more emotionally together person, it's about what you say in your head, because if it's emotional, it's yours. And remember, what they say is their business. How you react is yours. You can choose not to react. So I want to know, I've got some smart people in the room that have been through this the hard way. I thought we might help the people who don't know what to think when something really toxic happens. And as I've said, I'm inclined to think to myself, wow, well, I guess you're entitled to your opinion. I just choose not to react to it. All right. And that's what I keep saying to myself. They're entitled to their opinion. Doesn't make it true. It doesn't make it true. And I think the difference is that when we were children, we thought at some level that it must be true. And that's the sadness of it. Now, okay, so Sakura, thank you for that honesty. But I want to show you how that fans the flame. All right. That makes people hit you even harder. All right. Sakura's saying, I would usually say, oh, this again? Are you done yet? All right. So can you see that when they push you and you push back, they're going to push back harder. So the trick is to not push. The trick is, I heard what you said. It hurt me quite a bit, by the way, but you're entitled to your opinion. See, you're saying the truth. The truth is they are entitled to their own opinion. It hurt me, but you're entitled to that opinion. Now, Trina, as usual, brings up a really good question. And she's saying, is it toxic or is it our emotion? All right? And that's a good thing. That's why I always say to people, Trina, it's a really good idea to turn the mirror. All right, and have a good look at yourself before you react. And sometimes I actually say to people, you know something? I really feel quite strongly about what you said, but I need a bit of time to process it and find out how I want to react to that. So I'm going to need to stop the conversation for a while. I'll get back to you as soon as I got it processed. You know, because sometimes you need a bit of time to process it. Now, Bryant McGill said, toxic relationships are dangerous to your health. How many of you have felt that? Some will literally kill you. Stress shortens your lifespan. Even a broken heart can kill you. There is an undeniable mind-body connection. Your arguments and hateful talk can land you in the emergency room or the morgue. So be aware that, it goes both ways. We are also toxic to people. You were not meant to live in a fever of anxiety, screaming yourself hoarse in frenzy of dreadful, panicked fight or flight that leaves you exhausted and numb with grief. Some of you know that one. You were not meant to live like animals tearing one another to shreds. Don't turn your hair gray. Don't carve a roadmap of pain into the sweet wrinkles on your face. Don't lay in the quiet. My mother's saying it, the word is lie. Sorry, Mum. That's what he said. Don't lay in the quiet with your heart pounding like a trapped, frightened creature. For your own precious and beautiful life, and for those around you, seek help or get out before it's too late. This is your wake-up call. So the thing is that be aware that toxic people can affect your health, and being toxic, when you lose control, if you really get honest with yourself, how many of you agree that you only say these hurtful, nasty things when you have lost control in some way? Can any of you? Sakura said that she's learned how to get out of range. Yes, exactly. If you can get out of range by disconnecting the call, or, I'll get back to you in a couple of days when I've had time to think about it. By the way, if you then reply saying, well, you created this in me because you said da-da-da-da, I have discovered, it took me a long time to work this one out, but it's something you need to know. I have discovered that I made it worse. Instead of just getting out of the way and letting the other person say what they wanted to say, I made it worse by fighting back, and then they defended themselves, and then I defended myself more, and it just went on, and we didn't get anywhere. And the other thing I am inclined to say sometimes is, I am so sad to hear that you feel that way about me. But that is your right. I'm a bit upset now, so I just need to have a bit of time here. See, that's the truth. Instead of fighting, but think about what Trina said. All right? Is it your toxicity that causes some of this? And if we're perfectly honest, we're losing control, and therefore we also contribute. So that's why you need to go away and think about it. That you need to go away and write down some of the things that were said. Work out where the trigger was. What was that bit that really hurt me? Turn it around. Is there some truth in that? And is that why it hurt? Makes sense, everybody? I want you to really see that sometimes it's because there is a seed of truth for us. If you walked away from toxic, negative, abusive, one-sided, dead-end, low vibrational relationship or friendship, you won. All right, so this one, I can't pronounce the name of the person who said it, otherwise I would, but it says, negative people can only infest you with discouragements when they find you around. Get lost and get saved, right? Get lost and get saved, right? Sophie Lou, that is. Sophie is saying, someone once described a toxic person to me as a sponge that sucks all the positivity and happiness out. Because we allow them to, Sophie. All right. That's the only thing is if you can put the wall down before they go, and suck all that out of you. The thing is, where you've really got some emotional intelligence going when you go, wow, that was pretty hurtful, but I'm not going to let it ruin my day. Did any of you hear that in my broadcast that I did about being frustrated? Where, I just kept saying these things that normally, would drive me insane. And I kept saying, I'm not going to let you ruin my day. Because I could feel, that they were out. I kept wondering whether, Mercury was in retrograde or something. All right, so Trina's saying we all have a role or place in the family. It's hard to change family. They know how to push each other's buttons. Yeah, something, but I've also learned to that you can find out how emotionally adult your family is by actually asking logical questions. My brother, would forget my birthday. And I wrote to him one time and said, something, it is pretty obvious to me that you don't really care about me. Because you never acknowledge my birthday. And his answer was, listen to his defense, well, birthdays are not that important to me. And I wrote back and said, and now you have demonstrated how selfish you can be because it's all about you. I am pretty damn sure, that's what I said, that you never miss an appointment because it's important to you. Well, I am your sister, and I'm here to ask you, could you please make me a little bit more important? And my birthday is something I like to have acknowledged, if you can find the time or motivation. Thank you. So Jody's saying that she agrees with Trina. Family politics are all but impossible to deal with at times. I totally agree. And that's why it is really healthy to find yourself an adopted family. In other words, I've done that. I found, all sorts of people that I put into my life. And some of them are half my age, but they're my buds. You know what I mean? I don't think of them as like children. I think of them as friends. But like sisters and brothers that I really wish that I'd had. And I'm certain that my sister feels the same way, that she's surrounded herself with people that that think she walks on water or whatever. And that's, great. I'm sorry that I can't do that, because the chances are, if I looked at those people, they obviously like being controlled. And I'm never going to let you do that to me. This is my life. I get to live it my way, right or wrong. Has he? Good question, Trina. Trina asks, has my brother acknowledged my birthday since then? Almost without fail. I'd love to tell you always, but he did miss a year. And I did ask him, did I become unimportant again? By the way, Trina, I've got to tell you a funny. How many of you remember the last visit from Big Brother Jeff, when we went with the trailer and camped for a while? Well, he's coming back in August, apparently. All right, so Sakura's saying, Mama Sal, you guys, that's all of us here, are part of my chosen family, and husband and his family treat me and I treat them as my own family too. And it's awesome. I wish I'd grown up with them, but I am now here. Yes, be grateful for what you have today. Yes, Trina. So he has shown that he does care. By the way, Trina, this ongoing thing with my sister, I refuse to let her behavior stop mine. I still send her a note every now and then. I still send her Christmas cards and birthday cards. I still do all the things that I would normally wish that I did with my other people. I'm actually going to make a really big effort to do other things. I've 3 times said, I'm willing to drive down halfway. Would you like to meet me for lunch? Because we're only about 5 hours apart. And so I keep saying, I'm willing to drive down for 2.5 hours if you'd like to meet me for lunch. I'm just not going to go to her house again until we've got this sorted out. There's a limit to how far I will change. And it's time. And by the way, she always got a reason why she can't do it. And I go, that's fine. That's fine. You see, I did my part. The fact that you've got to keep finding excuses why you don't want to do it, that's your stuff, not mine. I just need to, yes, exactly, Trina. Don't change you. How many of you have let people change who you really are? You see, I keep asking myself, what would a really loving person do here? And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight is love. But what would a really loving person, if I really love this person, how would I react? Differently? Yeah. Then think about what you're doing. So we do not have to be mental health professionals to identify the traits of the possible sociopaths among us. The toxic behaviors were there before you decided to enter the relationship with them. The signs were there. You have chosen to look the other way, but the signs were there. Boy, do I relate that to that. When I think about it, I married totally the wrong people for me. Right? They married what they thought was the right person for them, and boy, were they wrong. But, the truth was, I married the totally wrong people for me. I realize that I have certain characteristics that I have never owned up to. I do not like being controlled. And I now can stand up for that, right? I need somebody that's not going to try and control me. I want somebody who's going to let me be a better version of me. Jody's saying, I used to let people change me. Not one bit anymore. That's not true, Jody. Jody, think about that comment. Not one bit anymore. I know for a fact that we have changed you. All right. That attitude didn't come until my mid-40s, to be honest. All right. Right. Beth's just made it home from work. All right. She's listening while we're doing stuff. So I want you to be really aware that not only have people said toxic things to you, but we have said toxic things to other people. All right, so how about this one? I like this. I thought this was a good quote about it as well. 2 kinds of people to avoid in your life: those who love your lies and those who hate your truth. Now, that is very deep. How many of you have got certain people that really only want to listen to you when you're saying good things? Jody just admitted her stuff here. For better, yes, indeed. Yes, some people have affected your life. Yeah, good. And you should have specified. That's a guilt word. Should is a guilt word. I'm not going to let you go there. All right, no. Get a sense of humor and just go, I forgot that one. Remember, by the way, that's a really big red flag for me. When I start hearing people say should, have to, must, I go, they're trying to control me. You really should have done that. I go, control. And then, with people who I've taught better, I go, did you just say I should do something? That's control, right? And then I'll say, you mean I might choose to think about it? And I start to laugh because you don't get by me with that one anymore. I hear the shit. How many people have told me, well, you must do da 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 da? And I go, excuse me? Are you talking to a 5-year-old or me as an adult? Because as far as I know, as an adult, I don't have to do anything. Oh, that's the other one. You have to do X, Y, and Z, or you must. Those 2 words are interchangeable. When I hear those, I actually stop people and I go, that was when I was 5. I'm an adult now. I don't have to do anything. And they go, yes, you do. You have to stop at traffic lights. And I go, or and I go, no, actually, if I choose not to, I pay the consequences and I could kill somebody, but it is socially acceptable that I do it. Do you understand? We get to choose what we do. All right, Beth's saying, I choose to make some coffee before I fall over. I'll choose to drink mine, Beth. So let's go back over some of this. How many of you can see that these toxic things that happen to you as a baby or as a child, as a toddler, as a teenager, whatever, these hurtful things are in the past? We cannot change it. We cannot rewrite history. We're going to have that in our lives. My question is, how much room do you want to give that in your mind? You've only got so much of a mind. And some people, use up half their mind remembering all these bad things. All right? And I would suggest that we give these things less room in our minds. How many of you can see that that would be a good thing? So what can we say to ourselves when these things come up? First of all, remember you can desensitize yourself to it. All right, you can keep using the bad things. I joke about it a lot now. I know, my mom used to tell me, don't bring the patter of tiny feet near me. But, the truth is, I just need to stop giving it room. I just, because even if I make a joke of it, I can still feel a level of hurt. I've managed to sort of desensitize myself to it to quite a large degree. But I don't want to keep talking about it. All right, now this was an incredible comment here. As highly sensitive empaths, we particularly prone to experiencing the dark night of the soul. The less defined our sense of self and the more toxic energy we take on from others, the more we are prone to losing touch with our souls. Sakura, I think one of the most magical things that I have seen knowing you for the short time that I have is that you have chosen a different path. Beth, yes, as have you. Does anybody want me to reread that? Because that's pretty powerful stuff. You see, I believe that in my soul, I'm actually quite a nice person. Deep down. All right, Beth, let me repeat it for you. As a highly sensitive empath, we are particularly prone to experiencing the dark night of the soul. The less defined our sense of self is, and the more toxic energy we take on from others, the more we are prone to losing touch with our souls. You see, you've got to really get it that at a really deep level, this is not who you are. I don't think that you are somebody that wants to fight with your family all the time, Sakura, so don't. Do you understand? It takes two people to have a fight, Sakura, not one. And therefore, if you know that you don't want to keep fighting all your life, walk away. Don't fight. If you've ever met an energy vampire, and you probably have, you'll get the distinct feeling that this person has an intense need to prey off the vitality of others. There is a kind of acute neediness present in energy vampires, which can be quite overwhelming and depleting to those they have come into contact with. Now, we know that's bad English, but we'll let it ride. So, all right, so Beth is saying, the more I get stressed, the more I punish myself. So I can't feel the emotional pain. It's only physical pain. That's, Beth, you don't need to do that anymore. I just want to tell you right here and now, 2x4 over the head, bonk, bonk. You do not need to punish yourself anymore. I think you've done more than enough punishment to yourself. Don't you go for the physical pain anymore. You know something, Beth? I had somebody who came to me who was a cutter. And as you know, I'm not a therapist and I'm not a doctor or anything, but a doctor actually referred it to me because the doctor had heard about some of the work that I do and how effective it had been with people. And I said to the doctor, you do know I haven't got a piece of paper, right? And she said, quite honestly, I'm more interested in you helping this person than any piece of paper. And I understand what you do really works for people. And I've been trying to help this person and I can't help them. And the interesting thing was, Beth, that she was a cutter. And I said to her, what do your parents think about the fact that you're a cutter? And she said, oh, they don't know. I said, what? She said, they don't know. And I said, wait a minute, they're your parents. How can they not know? I said, I've only been talking to you for 20 minutes and I know you're a cutter. So, do me a favor. How do your parents not know? And she said, they don't care that much, which I thought was interesting. And then I said, what about your counselor? I believe that you've been seeing a counselor. What does your counselor have to say about you being a cutter? And she said, she doesn't know either. And so I said, then why on earth did you tell me? And she said, because you care. And I said, well, I've got news for you. Beth, listen up. All right? I've got news for you. In a way, I'm glad that you are, because you will know when you have reached emotional adulthood, when you stop cutting yourself, when you stop punishing yourself for other people. That will be a great benchmark for you to know that you've grown up. And by the way, the day you tell your parents you're a cutter, I will give you a serious adult point. By the way, she phoned me the next day and said, I just went home and discussed it with my parents, so they're horrified. I also said, be aware, and I did give her that caveat. I said, be aware when you tell your parents, expect them to get really angry. But it's not at you, it is at themselves for not seeing it and being able to help you. And she said, when I told them, they got really angry. And she said, I told them, Sal told me you would probably get really angry, and I'm sorry that you're hurting. It was not anything. I did this to myself. I know better now. I've grown up. Beth, can I repeat that? Because it's very magical stuff, Beth. And I just want to make sure that it's okay that I can repeat that. Okay, so Beth says, and I quote, oh, I was a cutter for years as a teenager. I felt better after. But I switched to starving myself instead, which was easier for me to hide. And then she met me. I think, Beth, one of the first days I met you, and I think it might have been the first day, I did ask why you were trying to commit suicide by starvation. Because everything you told me is that's what you were doing. And I am so proud of you for what you have done, but so thankful to you for all that you have taught a number of viewers about eating plans and how to eat healthily and so forth. I'm amazed how many times I quote you in my real life, because there, in my mind, is no better reason to do what I do than people like Beth. Yeah, she actually said, I starved until I got pregnant with twins and then I had to eat for them. Yes. You see, you will do for others what you will not do for yourself. And that is the interesting thing. And for all of you, Yeah, Beth is saying, I did it for them at first, now I do it for me. Yes, when you can realize that looking after yourself is not selfish. Looking after yourself is your role as an adult. Protecting yourself is your role as an adult. When you can not wait for somebody else to complete you, you have become adult. When you realize you can be happy on your own, you're an adult. When you realize that if I make myself happy today, I am healthy. I am no longer a sick puppy. When you can get out of bed just because you want to, not because you have something to do. You understand, all these things are incredible benchmarks as to where we can go. So I have a couple of questions for those of you who are regular viewers. I need some input. Can I get that from you? I need a bit of research. By the way, if anybody has anything else that they want to talk about today, or to follow up on what we've been talking about, please type it in now. I need you guys to get on my case. I have been promising myself for a week, I'm going to do something that's supposedly unlucky, okay, that I'm going to paint an umbrella. So what I wanted to know was, do you want me to do it as a... Now that was easy to put it up, but it's a bit more difficult putting it down. Hang on a second. It requires some... what I wanted to know is, yes, I want to paint it. Sophie? Maybe a couple. But I was wondering whether you would like me to do it as a live broadcast type thing where I could make a lot of mess and that. But the other question is, how much do you think a painted umbrella is worth? You know, allowing for the fact the cost of the umbrella plus, or is it a case of it depends how beautiful it is? So that's what I'm trying to find out. What's a good price? And the other thing I need a good price on, please, is I'm starting to make bear mats. You know, original art bear mats. These are a set of 4. I'd like to get some sort of idea as to... You've never heard of painting an umbrella before? Yeah, I know. Yeah, okay, so that's, while we're waiting for that answer, Beth is saying, yesterday I couldn't get out of bed because I didn't work. I was a little depressed from having 2 days off. You know, I really want you to start looking at that, Beth, because what that's saying is that you are starting to, or continuing to see that your work is your motivation. You're getting strokes at work, and therefore you're only of value when you work. I want you to think about that. Okay, Sophie, so this is another set that I did. I'm still going to finish these off with the backs and everything, but so I just don't know what I should charge for them. For a set of 4. Okay, so Sakura's saying $15, and then the shipping cost. I was actually horrified. Hang on. Your work does not equal your worth, dear Beth. Yeah, that's what Jody's telling Beth. Absolutely. So I want to tell you something else, Beth, from my own personal experience. I've told you this before. I hope it doesn't apply to you, but I used to have my value in my work, and I worked 18 hours a day, until I had an emotional breakdown. It was a health breakdown, quite honestly. And what happened was I was then not working for over a year. So be careful. We're talking well, yeah, it's easier to talk American dollars because not many people speak in Canadian dollars, which are different. So I'm hearing, what about euros? So set of 4 original art beer mats. I'm trying to get some sort of idea of the range. I really have no idea. Hang on a second, I'll get a couple that are finished because these obviously are really messy on the back, but I want to show you a couple that are finished. Hang on. Okay, so I've only got one. I've packed a lot, but anyway. So this is one that I did, and this is how it looks when it's finished, all right? It has another beer mat underneath it, and then I paint the whole lot to match the front. So, oh, you're a pound. Okay, you can give it to me in pound sterling. That's good. So that is one thing. Now, the other thing I've got, and I needed to get an idea of price. Oh, by the way, these all have 2 coats of engine varnish. In other words, high heat varnish. I actually use engine varnish on them. All right, and this, I've got a set of 4. I'm not going to go and get the other 2 because they're busy drying, but I've got a set of 4 of bigger ones. These are 6 by 6. What do you think about those? So that, again, I think this has got 3 layers of engine varnish on it. What are the... Okay, they're made of cork, but... Not bad, they're made of cork. All right, so the bigger one's 25, you think, Jody? And Trina's saying 15 pounds. Or is that euros? That's euros. Wow, Beth is saying 40 to 50 bucks for the umbrella. Really? Well, it's interesting to hear. So I think these are worth 25 for original art. There's a lot of time in there. So good to know. And did we come up with a price for these that we all agree on? Really? So, well, let's see if one sells at 50. What I might do is make one. Sophie, I think £10 sterling is probably high. I could be wrong. But I tell you what I'm going to do. What about if I come in at 10 bucks plus the cost of shipping? No, I've got all that as well. Yeah, maybe 15. Yeah, 15 for these. I think you're right, Jody. Plus the cost of shipping. Okay. I got a real fright. I sent somebody a mug this week, and the cost of shipping it was nearly as much as I had charged for the mug. And I had a whole all-in price, and I used nearly all of the money just to ship it. So I'm learning the hard way here, but we will do that. Thank you for your input, people. So we're saying 25 for these, 15 for a set of 4. All right, and this will be a set of 4 for 25 plus plus the cost of shipping. Good. We can do that. So we're in that sort of, you know what, we'll find out if any of them sell, we'll know that it's the right price. And by the way, if I don't have any stock left, I will know it's the right price, right? Which one, Sophie, would you like to have a closer look at this set, which is sort of the turquoisey ones? Or, hang on, I'm trying to do them like a set of cards for you. Or, okay, we're going to call this 1 or 2. Which set did you want to have a closer look at? Sakura, you know, if I told you the price of materials, you'd be shocked. You know, when you think about, I doubt I would actually make money off them at the moment. So that's where we go. So this is 1, 2. They're like mini works of art. 3, 4. However, Sophie, they were also 1, 2, 3, 4. I found that if you turn these, they look completely different. So that's the one set. So they will be going up as soon as I finish them, probably take another week or so because I want to put the backs on them and then paint them to match. But they will be going up on the website mid-January, I would think. By the way, I'm hoping that everybody is signed up on the DearMamaSal subscription thing. The other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, if I may, is I have started to write the journey, my diabetes journey, and what I'm doing and what it's causing in terms of reactions, you know, what's happening to me in terms of yo-yoing and of what's happening to me in terms of physical reactions and so forth. And I was going to send that out with the mid-January subscriber thing, but then part of me, okay, Sophie, I'll take a picture, and I tell you what I do. When I take the picture, I'll just send it directly to you before I put it up on the website in case you want them. Okay, so that's this one, right? The turquoisey one. This group. Actually, that gloss looks really good on there, doesn't it? All right. I'm a nice person, Sophie. Sometimes. All right, so anybody else got, can I check with you in terms of the learning today? How many of you could feel that not only have you had it happen, but you've done it to other people? You know, one of the things I'm really working hard on this year is that I keep turning it around and going, you know, how does this feel when somebody does this to me? And then I find when I realize how it feels to me, I find it much easier to apologize because I have the words when I want to apologize. You know, I will say, you know, I gave some thought to what I said to you and it was really hurtful and I'm sorry. It wasn't my intent to be hurtful. I was upset. And apparently I lost control because I got angry at you when actually I was, have you heard the word transference? Where in fact, what we're feeling is what we transfer onto somebody else. So that when we're frustrated, look at why you're frustrated. Is it because you can't control the situation? And if so, you're getting angry is a transference of that emotion. And, you know, Sakura, if you think about it, that's what's happening to your family, right? They're just continuing to try and control you like a 5-year-old. And, you know, when you can get a sense of humor about that, you're going to find, you know, I really want to tell you, if you start laughing and go, wow, that sounded controlling again. What is it that you want me to do that I'm not doing? And then hear them out. Make sure you listen to what they have to say and you go, I'll give that some thought. You see, Sakura, you can think about it. You don't have to agree with it. And it's a really nice, calm way of going, now can we change the subject? And if they go, yes, but, you go, hang on a second. I heard what you said, and I will give it some thought. Thank you. Appreciate your input. You know, and you get to keep your control without getting all upset, which I think is wonderful. In terms of downsizing, are any of you struggling with anything that you want a bit of support on? I thought I'd let you know that I am halfway now. Yeah, maybe halfway through my art room now. That is amazing. I'm literally, you know, I'm trying to work on getting enough steps every day. And it's really funny because what I'm doing is every hour I'm going, time to get into the studio. And I do about 15 minutes of just anything that I can see. I start cleaning up and then I leave until the next hour. And then I go in and I do 15 minutes of something. And sometimes I only move 3 things. You could do with downsizing your clothes. All right. How many of you know that you need to do that as well? Sophie, I found a really good way of doing that. I'm surprised it's working for me the way that it is. You're struggling with the dining room, Sakura. All right, so what is it that's wrong with the dining room and living room? If you're struggling, it means you're trying to do too much. Do you understand that? It's overwhelm. Right, so you made a shelf for some cubies. I want to tell you, cubies are your new best friend. Without a doubt. My house looks, yes, send me some pictures and I'll gladly, what's it, Marie Kondo, is it? What she recommends is, you know, do it in zones and do it in small things. In other words, when I go into my studio, I don't try and clear it all up. All right, I actually go, I'd like to have a look at some of the plastic things lying around today. All right, and what I do is I will then just, you know, be on the lookout. Where have I got plastic? And all I'm doing is putting all the plastic into one box. Then I can decide, do I really need 48 pieces of plastic in my studio? You understand? Now I can see how much plastic there is. I go, really? I don't think so. Right. Trina's saying, I've done a lot of learning here. Thank you. It's a pleasure. Really, it's why we're here. Stepping out of situations, looking at the bigger picture, and more faith in myself. More self-care. Yay, Trina. Oh, Trina, you know, it's so funny because I think about you guys so much when I'm struggling with stuff, you know, and I was really beating up on myself so badly about the fact that I had put on weight when really it was out of my control as far as I knew. And you guys, you know, have been so good about helping me understand that my body is busy trying to adjust without having as much sugar. And it really is a very painful process, apparently. And, you know, last week, in the last 10 days, I would say, I put 3 pounds back on again and have dropped them again. Can you imagine what that felt like inside my body? You know, it was just like, I don't know what I had to put on the 3 pounds, but it was being away. It was, you know, being in hotels and not being able to have the food that I would normally have, more temptation, bigger portions, all those sort of things. But, you know, then I realized I got into the habit of that. So, whoops, this doesn't work for me. And then getting to that point where I refuse to let this control me. I'm going back to controlling my food. And so about downsizing your clothes. Here's what I do, Sophie. It's really strange. I actually do a thing where I keep all the clothes I wear in the center. Do you know what I mean? If I pull them out of the side of my closet, when I put it back, it goes in the center. So what is happening organically is the clothes I don't wear are moving farther and farther to the left and right. Does that make any logical sense to anybody? If I keep clear, everything I wear goes into the center. I know that this section are the clothes that I wear regularly. And the ones that are on the extreme left or right are ones I very rarely wear because they got to the left or right. Then at the change of the season, Sophie, I take out a couple from each end and I have a look at them and go, really? And I have a bag in my closet that is for donations, just a Safeway bag. And my goal is that every season I give away one Safeway bag of clothes. And I'm actually up to 2 now. I'm quite proud of myself. All right, so Sophie is doing her first weigh-in. That's interesting. Trina, I read about the dandelion drops. The only ones I could find on Amazon were for gerbils, I think, or guinea pigs. And I didn't think you meant those. So I did suss out where the local health food store is. Sophie Lewis says, I think I have that similar route, but the ones in my wardrobe are the ones I barely wear. Okay, I may be ashamed to say the clothes I do wear are mostly on my floor or my bed or chair. That's because you don't have enough room in your closet. So here's my recommendation. So if we do what I did, take everything out of your closet and put back the ones that you wear. And stick the other ones into a garbage bag and put them somewhere at the back of a closet or whatever, and see if you want them in the course of the next year or 6 months, whatever it is. I normally wait a year, but when I did that big change, I literally filled up garbage bags and I put them into the garage so I knew I could get at them. But if I didn't get them out within a year, then I obviously didn't really need them. Yeah, and if you haven't used them in a year, just you've got a bag all ready to go to the, you'll find you get quicker. I found that I'm throwing clothes away far more quickly. My first thing was I had to keep them for a year because I may want to wear them. Now I'm going, really? If you haven't, if they're either end, you're not wearing them anyway, so they can go. So every season I take the outside ones and I give them away. And sometimes I actually put other things in there. When I look at it and I go, no, seriously, I pulled it out because I thought I wanted to wear it. And I went, yeah, but I'm not that size anymore. In the bag. And I keep that bag in this, I actually have that bag hanging in the center, so it's easy to put them in as well. So. It might be, it works. I'm surprised how much I've given away. But I've still got some emotional things. Well, good evening, Linda. Good to see you. 6-month rule. Yes, but here's the thing. I disagree with that. I understand that is true. But for me, it's like if I haven't worn it in the next season, then it can go. Right. So I wait to the end of the season and go, okay, if I haven't worn it this season, it can go. So it actually is less than 6 months. And, sometimes 2 seasons. By the way, I've got a really delicate subject to discuss with you before we leave. Do any of you buy your unmentionables as often as you buy your clothes? Yeah, anything I haven't worn this winter, it's time to go. Unless it is has real emotional value to you. And I must admit that that's one thing I like about Marie Kondo, is that she does say, if it makes you happy just to have it in your closet, then keep it. All right, so Sakura is saying, I recommend put a category like clothes that I did was to put them in cubies for the first round. I wore all of them to see if they fit or not, right? And then those that didn't, I gave away. Then the ones that fit, put them away. Then have a cubie for the ones that maybe, and try, for the following year, maybe you'll get back to that size. Yeah, and if not, then bye-bye. Yeah, exactly. So, Linda, what I'm doing now, and it works really well for me, is at the end of the season, I pull out that season clothes. I've got certain clothes that go, for the mid-seasons. I've got certain summer clothes that I also wear with a cardigan for, well, this is actually a summer top, but I wear it in the winter as well. That would be your undies, Sophie. Now, the reason I say that, I realized something. I cannot believe it's taken me 72 years, whatever I am now, to realize this. I used to always, for example, if I was buying a new bra, I would always buy, I normally buy a couple of each, right? Like a couple of white ones, a couple of black ones. And it's taken me this long to realize, have you noticed that the black ones last way longer than the white ones? That's what shocked me when I actually realized the dark ones last longer than the white ones. And the reason is because the white ones discolor if you put them in the wash. True? So I have stopped putting my bras into the wash. I now wash them when I shower, by hand. And first of all, I got to tell you that my bras are not discoloring, or if they are, they're doing it very slightly. And the second thing is, I now, every January, make sure I buy 2 new whites and 1 new black. Yes, now Sakura's saying she buys flesh-colored. How many of you do that? Because flesh-colored, will go under anything. And what I'm finding is I am now taking those bras that don't fit me. How many of you are still trying to get into bras that don't fit you? Just because you used to be able to fit into them. The giveaway signs are the big bulges under your arms. That's a pretty good sign that it doesn't fit you. All right, so Sophie's saying she likes pink ones, pale pink. That's her favorite color. Yeah. So, but I did want to talk about it. I know it's not. All right, so Jody's saying when she buys 1 white, 1 nude, 1 black, and 1 fun color. Good. So, this is like, I buy a lot of white, a lot more white because I wear white a lot. And that's interesting. So I thought, just while we were talking about those sort of things, that it would be a good time to talk about. All right. Anybody else got something that they want to get achieved in terms of downsizing? I'm going to start buying some. I'll buy a flesh-colored one. I've never bought a flesh-colored one. I think I did once. By the way, the other thing I found, like Sakura, find one that fits and that you like and keep buying it until they don't produce it anymore, because there's nothing better than a good fitting bra. It's like, I actually now, by the way, this is what I do now when I buy them. if they're new pattern to me or new make or whatever, I take a picture of the box because I want to remember later to either buy or not buy this again. You know what I mean? It's like some that I thought, I really like certain brand and I bought one and it didn't fit. Yes, Sophie saying, I find one that I like and I buy it in all the colors. That I think is really smart. If it fits and it looks good, buy a whole series. Absolutely. Good idea. That's saving money. Actually, that's what I realize now. If I could have, $10 for every bra that I bought in my life that didn't fit me, I would be a very rich person. Do any of you relate to that? And I never take them back. It's just like, oh no, another one that doesn't fit. So, yes, and that's the thing that Linda's saying, buy it for yourself, not for other people. I'm very glad to say that I do now buy my underwear to suit me, not some guy I might go out with. But actually, in a way, I'm definitely quite happy with, if I will, either way. I don't know how to word that nicely. All right, so tonight we're going to be talking about love. We're going to be talking about love because I want to make sure that we all see the different ways in which we love things. And then I really would like us all to talk about better ways to love ourselves. So Sophie's saying that she finds she never wears white ones anymore under anything because the pink/skin color one works way better under white things. That is something for me to find out. Thank you, Soph. What I'm going to do is start finding the ones that really fit me and see if they make it in a different color. And if they do, then I will be ordering those up. Great stuff. I hope some of you got some value out of this. And if you did, please, make sure you leave a comment. Again, I want to ask, if you're not on the mailing list, subscriber list, please do that because I'm going to be developing things where the subscribers will always get advance notice of things. And so that you'll find on the DearMamaSal.com page under subscriber pages. But I do want to know how many of you would be interested in what I have discovered on the diabetes journey. I think I'm 5 pounds down, and my goal is to be, I think, at 9 pounds down by the end of February. Well, thank you, Jody. Jody's saying thank you for your hard work, Sal. You know something? I know that it's appreciated. That's why I do what I do. If I thought that what I did and what we did together, was not appreciated, I'm not sure I would continue to do it. Or maybe I would. There's Sakura. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I will send out an email. Sakura, I don't think you're on the mailing list. So you might want to sign up on the DearMamaSal.com page. And if you like, I'll send you the link again. Yes, Trina, I agree with you about that horrible gray color that bras go, after a while. And that's why I wanted to talk about the fact that if you wash them by hand, they don't go gray nearly as quickly. That was the message I was trying to send. But I have a nylon bag in my shower. And as I use a bra, I just put it in there. And then, when I shower, I just wash them. Because sometimes, it's every other day or something. So that's the way that I do it. After I've washed my hair and I wash my bras and I just done. All right, so Sakura, okay, I will send you the link. Actually, you're pretty smart. I think you can probably find it on your own. What I'll do is I'll put it back up onto the Facebook page as well. If I forget, Sakura, just remind me, please. You know me, I'm brain challenged. My 2 brain cells are going more slowly these days. All right, everybody, I hope this was of some value. How many of you have decided you're not going to let people do this to you anymore? Actually, you know something? I can show you, Trina. I just, while you're here, I just wanted to show you what happened last week. Because I think if you can see what happened, you'll understand why I was upset. Just hold on one second. Okay. I don't know if you can see this, and I'm going to try and hold my tablet the right way because, you know, it does tend to do really strange things. Okay, so this is what happened to my weight from July. Can you see what happened? I was just unable to control it. Can you see that, guys? But this is what's happened since. And this little rise here was the week I was away. And then that's what happened this week. I've called it the yo-yo week. So definitely it's going in the right direction, which is what I wanted to talk about. And I wanted you all to know I really haven't been dieting. I have made some changes in how I look at things. And I quite honestly, I am eating more calories than I think I was, but now they're balanced. Do you know what I mean? My carbs are balanced. That's what I'm working on. I don't fixate on the calories at all. I just want to know, are my carbs under 50%? And that's what I want to show you, because I've got some examples that I've been writing about. So, but like everything else in life, you know, it has its ups and downs. But, you know, I really do want to show that we can do this if we want to, and that it's easier than we think. My thanks, of course, on this go to Beth, Jody, Lauren, anybody, Trina, you've given input as well. You know, I'm amazed how much help you all have given me, and I am very, very thankful. I am aware that the way I look at food has changed. And by the way, when I realized that I put on that 3 pounds, I just went, stop. That's it. Stop. Don't go back there. You know, if you don't get control right now, you're going to end up on medication. So do yourself a favor, get control. And I immediately took a vote of action. And those sort of things are the things that I'm writing about. So I will send out the link to all the subscribers in the mid-February mail out so that you guys can have it. If anybody wants it in a hurry, let me know and I'll just send it to you. Right? But make sure you're on the subscriber list because it is a subscriber only thing. All right. So thank you for being here. We'll see you this evening. This was probably one of the more difficult broadcasts for me to put together because it was so emotional. I want to thank those that contributed to the questions that I want you to know how much it helped to have your input and to have real life examples to work with. I think that you will all agree that some of the things that were said to some of us were so hurtful, it is past description. That it was then and this is now, and now we live one day at a time as adults. So this is DearMamaSal saying, thank you so much for being here. Big hugs to you all. Remember to look after one another, but most of all, Beth, please, please, please understand that resting is not being lazy. And that your speed is the right speed for you. I know I'm changing the way I do things in a very big way. And there's part of me that goes, I wish I had done this a long time ago, but I didn't. But I can help other people maybe now. So this is, please remember to look after yourselves because you are very special people. You are all in your own ways survivors. And I applaud you. You make me happy every day in one way or another. And for that, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. This is Dear Mama Sol saying thank you for being here. Bye-bye for now.